State of Star Wars, Winter 2022 edition. Welcome, everybody, to the Resistance broadcast. We are back on our Thursday rotation, 2 weeks in a row. What is happening? Do you miss our live shows? Let us know, because we might do some more if people want them. But we are here with you to talk about the state of Star Wars. We do this quarterly. We've been doing this for a few years now. And no planned agenda. We're going to get a warm-up segment in, but once that happens and we get into the state of Star Wars, who knows what we're going to talk about. And that's what makes these episodes so interesting and exciting, because we really have no idea. Just going to give our takes on how we think Star Wars is doing right now. It's a nice little timestamp, too, because you can go back and be like, wow, that's what I thought back when. But Lacey and James with me, as always. Lacey, are you ready to talk about the state of Star Wars?
Yeah. Are you saying, am I ready to talk about Star Wars on a Star Wars podcast? Yes, John, I am.
The state of that Star Wars. Can get very interesting.
I guess so. Yeah.
All right. James, are you ready to talk about the state of Star Wars?
I actually, before we started, I tweeted about a state and Star Wars when I noticed that Snoke's flagship, the Supremacy, is 37 miles across, which is exactly the length of Rhode Island from east to west.
Wow.
That is the state of Star Wars.
That's why you come to this podcast, folks. You don't hear that anywhere else. All right, so we are here. We're going to have a good time. So, James, why don't we fire it up with our first segment of the day to get warmed up?
All right.
I fear nothing, for all this, as the Force wills it.
Well, the first segment of the day, John, is Will of the Force, and normally before we do it, we like to talk a little bit about our Patreon. So if you like TRB and if you have the ability to support us, consider becoming a patron on Patreon at patreon.com/resistancebroadcast. You can support the pod for just $2 a month. And as a thank you, patrons of every tier receive exclusive weekly bonuses, or bonus episodes, perks, other cool little benefits as you move up the ranks. And your support allows us to grow and plan for the future. And most importantly, keep doing exactly what we have been doing for a very long time, but continue to do it in the future. So if you are able to support us, thank you. Head over to the site, check it out. Link in the description. But let's get to some of these questions that were submitted via Patreon. Our first one comes from Mike Waldron, a.k.a. Darth Hurricane. He wanted to know, will the success of Star Wars live action on TV influence the speed at which theatrical releases are produced? So will Lucasfilm take more time creating content with fans' appetites being met on shows via Disney Plus, if that makes sense? John, you want to go first on this one? What are your thoughts?
I don't think so. I think the sequel trilogy was a little bit of an anomaly in terms of, for whatever reason, why they chose 2-year gaps versus 3, like the old trilogies. I don't think there appears to be any sort of, we got to spread those out because of Disney Plus. I still think they fully understand how important feature films are to the Star Wars franchise and how much money they make and how successful they have been and what the franchise has been rooted in since the beginning. And there's also, that rumor that they're dunking another movie into the 2024 slot. So it's going to be 23, 24, 25. So I don't know that that's the case. They may have learned some lessons, but I don't think it's just because there's content on Disney Plus. I think those are two sort of trains running alongside each other in a way, but it certainly does help that we're getting that content because we have a lot to talk about and fans get a lot of good stuff. I saw someone tweeting the other day like, I can't believe I have to wait 3 months for more live action Star Wars. Like, we're back in the day we had to wait like 18 years, or 3 years, So we're living in good times to be a Star Wars fan anyway. So, but I don't think it's gonna affect.
Lacey, thoughts on this particular question from Mike?
So, great question, Mike. Thank you so much for being a general for us. I don't know if the success of live action is going to influence the theatrical releases, but I think there are other things at play that might. I think that there's definitely a emphasis on live action TV right now. I mean, Disney said back in 2021 and in 2020 that their emphasis was switching to streaming. They've clearly shown that they're pushing, forward with supposedly 11 series. So there's no delay in the TV series that they're producing, and Disney wants that Disney Plus money to continue to roll in because churn is a real thing with subscribers, so they want to keep you around. I think that the delay in film has been not just production delays, but like world delays with COVID and everything. But yeah, I think production is playing more into that than necessarily live action. But I do think that there might be a little bit of, hey, we've got all these other things going on, so it's okay if there's a delay. Like, it takes the pressure off that there is a delay. But I don't think that that's the exact reason why. I think there's a bunch of different variables.
Yeah, I don't think that's wrong. But I do lean even further and say yes to this question, actually. I do actually feel like Lucasfilm is making the considered effort to put the movies kind of on the back burner, taking maybe that lesson from Bob Iger when he said it was just too much Star Wars all at once kind of thing. And they're like, all right, hold on. We've heard a lot from fans that, the movies are supposed to be special, and that was what is interesting. It's almost like kind of playing a reverse to what the success of Marvel has had, where they are very movie oriented first, and they're just kind of breaking into TV. It feels like Lucasfilm is going to try to, because they were trying to be movie heavy, and then they were like, hold on, let's play in this TV universe for a while. We've got a lot of TV shows lined up. We can keep churning them out and get in that era and get people used to that Star Wars. And then when we bring back the movies, it will be special again. So I feel like we're going to look back at this era as like, well, there was Disney Star Wars. There was the movie era, then the TV era, and then hopefully whatever comes next would be like combining the two or getting it on track to produce both at the same time. So I think yes right now, currently, yeah. Moving on to the next question. Will we see Adam Driver play a Force ghost Ben Solo in a future live action Star Wars movie? I'm bouncing back at you, Lacey, on this one. First, what are your thoughts?
While I would love to see him back, I don't think we will. I think he's done with Star Wars. And I've said this a couple times. It kills me to say it because I think he should have lived, but we won't get into that. But I just think he's on to other things. Obviously, it depends on how big that check would be from Disney. Obviously, that always influences these celebrities to whether they're going to do it or not. But I think for now, they're just going to leave that character alone, especially with kind of all the craziness that surrounds him with people that really love him and people that really hate that character. And I think they're focusing on a different time period right now, and I don't think that Ben Solo is at the forefront of someone they want to highlight.
He could become a spokesperson for that housing company, and they could call him Benzillo, like you almost just said.
What?
John, what are your thoughts on Adam Driver returning as a Force
I thought you were going to say, what are your thoughts on that joke? I've got a few. My thoughts on Adam
Says John
Driver.
Hoey.
King, Dad Joe King. What are you talking about?
All right.
Yeah. Will we see? No, we won't. He's that ship sailed. It's over.
That it?
Such a quick
That's
answer.
Yeah.
Man, okay, without putting too much thought into it, what my first thought when I read this was, do you want the canon answer or the real answer, the real life answer? The canon answer is no, he's not going to show up. But the real life answer, probably yeah. As a Force ghost. Because I feel like they're just going to make it happen, even though like it doesn't really even fit with the story. Sometimes I think they just play with Force ghosts like that. Like it's almost like the director being like, here's how we can incorporate him. And then the story group or whatever,
I just don't want to see
have to make sense of it, are like, I don't get how that makes sense, but they're probably going to do it.
Ben Solo like rolling up and telling like Rey like, you're doing that wrong, or this is how you do it. She doesn't need that. Like, get out of
Yeah,
here.
I mean the only thing is that I think that kind of breaks the rules of the Force Ghost thing is we've always kind of seen it as like normal people coming back for the people that they mentored, and we've never seen how a Force Ghost might interact with their dyad because we just don't
Yeah.
know.
Mhm.
And that story could totally be open to like something that we've never seen before, and if he's willing to come back for even a cameo, they could write that in pretty easily.
And if they do it, like, I'll probably be like, all right, that was cool. Like, it's just
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, canon answer, it probably just kill off the character, but then like real life, like
I always find a way to
money
like
is
this
involved
stuff.
kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like probably. All right, Patreon is getting another question. Someone from our commander, Semper Fi Danny, longtime patron of ours. Will we get more surprise? Yeah, will we get more surprise John Williams theme songs for announced or unannounced shows in the future? So, John, you're going first on this one. Do you think that John Williams is gonna? I actually misread this question when I was preparing for it, but do you think he's gonna do some more music for Star Wars for these shows?
I'm gonna say no. I think Kenobi again was one of those things where they're like, we want to make this special. Johnny baby, can you fire out one more for us before you do the indie score? And also, legacy character. So unless like they need a Lando theme or something, I think that's pretty much running the gamut on all of the characters. So, he did Han, Leia and Luke sort of already had their stuff from the original trilogy, and now he's getting one to
Did
Obi-Wan.
not do Andor.
Yeah, I don't see Andor as a legacy character. Like, I'm talking about the legendary original characters. I think that he probably maybe even said like, "Hey, do you need something?" And they're like, yeah. So I think this might be it. I would obviously, the obvious answer is you welcome more, all the John Williams you can get, but I think that might be it.
Lacey, what are your thoughts on John Williams doing more songs?
I think that the surprise John Williams theme song for Obi-Wan Kenobi is because he's so connected to that character. So I don't see him doing it for other characters. I think Han Solo was a very specific character. Obi-Wan Kenobi is a very specific character. I mean, if they did like a Luke series, maybe. But currently with the slate that's out there, no. I don't see him doing any more surprise songs outside of those characters that he helped kind of create their vibe and like who they are as a character and what you hear when you think of them and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm with you guys on exactly what you said as far as like why he would do this show and not other shows. I'm gonna say I did misread this question as, are we gonna get an announced or surprise show? Is like he's going to show up at Celebration thing, and I thought that was based on last week's discussion of him like randomly showing up kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that's what the question was, so I kind of was thinking in that. But as far as you guys answering, like, I'm exactly with you. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Probably the end of John Williams for Star Wars. I kind of hate to say that, but but that probably makes the most sense. We got one more question here, and that is there hasn't been anything said since Kathleen Kennedy announced it well over a year ago. We were kind of just talking about it, but is there any chance we're going to see an official update about the Lando series at Star Wars Celebration? Lacey, I'm going to let you go first on this one. Any chance we get an update on Lando?
Depends if they have something to update.
True.
I'm just saying, because they didn't have anybody attached to the project, like no actors or anything. I'm gonna say yes, we will, and we're gonna get an update on multiple projects, like the slate of upcoming projects from them.
So you're thinking like a future of live action panel?
Yeah, like they
Kind of
talk
thing?
about like Star Wars TV block, where they have like a 3-hour panel, and the first hour for Kenobi, second hours for Andor, third hours, for whatever, and then they do like a 20-minute part just for what's coming.
Man, I feel like at the time with Kenobi launching the same time, I feel like they're just gonna not say anything about Kenobi. But I don't know.
I
That's
think
just
they'll
me.
totally have a panel for Kenobi. It'll probably have its own panel. I don't know what I'm saying. They'll probably have its own panel.
Man, that's interesting. That's an interesting take. But John, what are your thoughts on Kathleen Kennedy talking about Lando? Do you think we're going to get an update?
I mean, they haven't said a word about it since she announced it in December of 2020. I don't think this series is happening anymore.
Really?
You think it's
Yeah.
getting the Ryan Johnson treatment right now?
I think something must have happened where Glover was in talks and he backed out or something, because how do you have this series that you announced on this big investors day, a year and almost 3 months ago now, and have literally said nothing about it? That is absurd. At least, the Ryan Johnson thing, every once in a while it'd be Kathleen Kennedy saying, we're talking to Ryan, we got the ideas going, we're doing this, and they kicked the can down 6 months. This, they've said zero, as far as I remember. I don't think there's been any talk about this series since.
Have they said anything about Droid Story? Because
I think they mentioned it with Visions.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And that's like an animated thing, right?
Well, I'm just saying that's one of the things they announced, and they haven't said anything about it at the same time. We kind of speculated that, so-and-so was involved, but
I guess my answer is no, because I
Yeah.
just have this bad feeling. I got a bad feeling about this, that the Lando series, something happened and it's not going to happen.
man, I was going to say yes, but you saying that now really makes me realize how long it's been since they've said anything about it. Man, John, you changed my answer. I think you're probably right, actually.
Oh, I mean, it's sad to say, but
Yeah, I was leaning on Lacey saying, like, I don't think we're gonna get like any sort of big thing or trailer. Like, that would be ridiculous.
and I hope I'm wrong. Listen, I want it.
I didn't say I just said an update, so they'll put the
I
logo
know.
up. Yeah.
I know. I'm saying I'm with you. We're not gonna get any sort of like big thing or trailer. If they were going to talk about it, it probably would be in a future of television panel, and they'd probably like mention it, or give us an update or something. But man, I don't know. It is really tricky. Just like it doesn't seem like there's been any real development, other than I think there was like a rumor that so-and-so was writing it or developing it, or was that part of the announcement?
I don't know that was part of the. It's been so long, James.
Yeah,
They had a writer attached to it.
She read it on,
When they
on one of those
announced it, or was
scrolls
that
with
like a
calligraphy. That's
trade?
how
When they
long ago
announced it was just the writer.
Okay. Yeah. So, unfortunately, I'm going to go with you're right on that. So, that being said, let's wrap up Will of the Force and kind of head into the state of Star Wars, because where are we at?
Obi-Wan once thought as you do.
Yeah, that's almost like a good little segue. So the state of Star Wars, if you're new to the podcast, every once in a while, usually every season, we do it that way, 4 times a year. We like to take the time we have on the podcast to have an open discussion about the state of the franchise. And the last time was in the fall. We did it around November, about a month or so before the Book of Boba Fett. So let's see where we're at today. Now we're on the other side of the Book of Boba Fett, on the cusp of Kenobi, Bad Batch Season 2, Andor, a lot of stuff coming this year and next year. So the winter 2022 version of the State of Star Wars. I may start it there. I do. There's a lot of good things that I want to make sure we talk about, but just stuff like that. Like, I don't know. I feel like it hurts Lucasfilm when they don't comment on things, even if it's bad, because it just creates these sort of storms of theories and rumors and that sort of thing, about these projects, the Ryan Johnson stuff, of course. Like, would it be that bad if they just ripped that Band-Aid off and said, listen, Ryan found some great success with this new franchise he made. We loved what he did with Star Wars, but that's where he's at now, and we're moving on. That would be it. But it just seems like they keep kicking it down the road, and it creates that uncertainty and stuff like that. So I think and this is again for diehard fans who are really locked in. I'm sure there's a lot of general fans who have no idea about a LANDO series, but in terms of the fans who are really passionate about it, just maybe let us know a little bit more. So I know we've kind of touched on that in the past. It doesn't seem like they're changing their ways. We were wondering if they were going to be doing that, but doesn't it still seem a little bit like they're archaic in a way? Like for example, I just saw this like old school commercial for the new Batman movie for their action figures. And it was like, you remember the old school action figure commercials back in the day where the kids are playing with it and he's driving along and he shoots the bad guy and he falls off this thing? Mm-hmm. It was this whole full scale commercial with figures of the Riddler, figures of the Penguin, the whole Batmobile, the Batman suit, everything. And like, work together with Catwoman. It's like giving away minor plot theories. And like, here we are, like Lacey covers Hasbro all the time. Like, you got to wait so long for these figures of these shows to come out because they don't want people to find out about it. It's like they've almost become, it's almost like so far into the realm of secrecy that they're like shooting themselves in the foot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
No, I totally agree. I mean, going off the toy thing, I just talked to Hasbro a couple weeks ago and I did ask them about that. I said, look, you just had an unsuccessful HasLab Rancor project that didn't do well. And then you have a Rancor that comes out for Book of Boba Fett that Boba Fett rides, that like is a whole thing in the show that people went nuts over. How does it feel that you see these things happen? Like, do you have any reaction to that? And his, Patrick was really nice, of course. And he was just like, oh, well, we wouldn't want it any other way. We want to experience it when you guys experience it because we're fans too. Oh. But I can't help but think that there is a part of them that's like, come on. Like, we could have launched the HasLab with this Rancor.
Yeah.
After the fact, obviously. They didn't have to do it before. But I think that they're...
Like, remember that thing from 1983? And then in like 2 weeks later, it's like front and center in the
with
new Star Wars
cooler
television
thing. It has
show.
it has like a chest plate and he rides it.
And they could
and
have
it's
a
like
stretch goal with a Boba Fett that was on the top.
Yeah, with a saddle and everything.
Little
it's
Danny
just,
Trejo figure.
Right. It's just kind of crazy to me that that as the example... It's only hurting fans because you're not seeing figures until years later because it takes a long time to make molds and to put things into production. And that's why you're seeing these pipeline reveals of 2023 and, summer of 2023. That's a ways away to wait on a figure. Yeah. And I mean, we didn't see Rey's lightsaber until this past fall. And I haven't even gotten it yet because of shipping stuff. I haven't gotten it until May. I'm not going to get it until May. So stuff like that, which just drives me nuts. Or like, we haven't gotten a Ben Solo because it's just so far gone that it's never going to happen. Yeah. And that was such a big moment for the series when he went to the, the light side. And I just think there's so many opportunities that they're missing by being so secretive. And I'm not saying it has to be everything. Like the Grogu thing, I get. You waited. It worked out. Now everything is Grogu. But I feel like there are these minor moments and characters that don't have to be so secretive. But the thing is that they've always been this way. From the time I worked at Celebration to now, there are a lot of secretive parts. And it's not just them, it's Disney too, because they want that, oh my gosh, moment from fans. But what they're ultimately doing is they're hurting themselves because they're waiting so long to get that moment that they're not getting the payoff because people are just angry going into said moment.
They didn't do it for Force Awakens. There were I remember because I got a bunch of them. There were a lot of figures out for the Force Awakens. You had all the Kylo Ren figures out, his 2 different outfits, like a lot of stuff. And then it even came with like quotes that they weren't necessarily in the movie, whatever. But like Phantom Menace, think about the hype for that. I think like you're right, Lacey. It's hurting fans, but I think it's also hurting them because I think part of the hype of Star Wars, something very special with Star Wars that other franchises I don't think have, is that hype of when the figures come out. Like, put out the new card backing of the action figure, the 3.75-inch action figure of Obi-Wan in this series. Who cares that we see what he looks like? We know what he looks like. Put out the Vader figure.
Yeah.
Put out a Tarkin figure. Put them out, say, Obi-Wan Kenobi series figures. People will go nuts and stock the shelves so people aren't hunting on eBay for them. Like, I don't understand that at all. It doesn't make any sense. It's way too secretive to the point where I really think they're shooting themselves in the foot. James, you're not a big collector. What are your thoughts on that element of it? Because it used to be a really big part of the adventure and journey to seeing a new Star Wars thing.
It's impossible to find figures in the store now. Like, good luck.
Well, because then they don't even release them. So
Yeah, I agree with exactly what you're saying. I'm trying to think like what would be the middle ground between those two things. Like if Lucasfilm revealed like some of the figures that were coming, kind of thing. Like Hasbro, tell people we are doing. We're planning on doing an Obi-Wan. We're planning on doing a Darth Vader. We're planning on doing some new ships and stuff, like something at least that could kind of get us like oh, okay, so look forward to those things. But even then it's like I just don't understand why they don't say like the show's basically done, like, so here are all the assets and just get this stuff going sooner than later. When it comes to toys specifically, so it's an interesting way to kick it off, because we normally go like from the biggest thing down. But starting it off at toys like that's we're still kind of in that same zone.
I think because I just, for some reason with Kenobi, I'm feeling that excitement, and I feel like how I felt when I was a kid, like going to see the special editions for the first time in theaters, or going to see the Phantom Menace when I was a teenager. And I feel that with Kenobi, but what's missing is that communal merch element of it, and going to the store and seeing like, oh my god, look at this figure, what are they going to do in this series? It says they have this weapon, what is that going to be? And you start making, and it's fun to speculate on it. And we even did that in old podcasts when like TLJ was coming out, and for some reason they're like going more and more on the secret of things. So I think we're starting at toys, but I think it's part of that package for Star Wars of leading up to something. And I think I don't remember when he did it, but Steele Saunders, and I know he has a certain sense of humor that sometimes people are like, all right, but he put out a thread about it, starting with the John Williams and how he can't believe Lucasfilm wasn't the one to announce that, and he couldn't have been more right.
That is crazy. I don't know why they didn't announce that.
Put out a 2-minute video of him he was conducting. Some guy on a Lord of the Rings podcast saw it and talked about it. Get a camera in there, film it for 2 minutes, and put a slow motion thing on it, slap it, put it out, and immediately every fan's like, thank you, Lucasfilm.
It was just his birthday. They could have put it out on his birthday.
90th birthday.
90th birthday. Hey, happy birthday to me. I'm doing more music.
Even if the plan was to keep that secret and it leaked and they're like, darn, they still should have been like, well, let's just go ahead and make our official announcement.
That's what Marvel does.
But
Marvel puts it out if it leaks.
They instead either leaked it like on purpose, gave it to a trade to make a deal with them or whatever, or they just still didn't do anything. They just let it be, and a trade was like, oh yeah, we think we already knew that. There's our second source. Let's run with the story.
Yep, 100%, 100%, man.
So
There's no way they're like, let's just give that to discussing film. Like, come on.
Yeah, it very much feels.
Variety or whoever it was.
We did a podcast a long time ago in the story group, and the thumbnail I chose was like an edit that I did of Office Space. Like, what would you say you do here? Right?
I love that line. Yeah.
And it still feels that way with Lucasfilm. Like in some cases, like I'm a big fan of this company. I have no clue what anybody does. Like, I have no clue what the timetables are or what you guys are working on. It feels like every day people are just like sitting back, like, it doesn't really matter, like timetable, whatever. I don't know. You got any ideas? Nah, let's go bowling. Like, it just doesn't seem like there's any rush or any emphasis to get in front of people, because it's almost like they feel like their properties are just like timeless or something. You know what I mean?
We had that exclusive report we put out about Boba Fett and the Rancor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just put out that figure, like Lacey said. Who cares if there's going to be a Rancor in Book of Boba Fett? It doesn't change anything. I knew for months that was happening, and when I saw it, it blew my freaking mind. So it's a Rancor. Like, we're not saying like, let people know that Darth Vader's Luke's father. There's like tiers to this.
Mm-hmm.
They've taken every tier and put it in the chest, and like, you'll see it when you see it, and that's what's causing a lot of leaks and stuff to happen. And like something like a John Williams returning, like, you gotta take that and you gotta make that special. Come on, jeez. And I don't want to spend this whole time, negative about how they're handling it, but I feel like more and more fans are coming around to saying like, I've been supporting them for a long time, saying like they can do what they handle their things how they want, but you look over at the other part, like in The Office. Like I make this analogy: when Angela has her boring Christmas party, and you look over and everyone else, Phyllis is drinking margaritas with Pam and Karen and stuff, and you're like, that's Marvel's party, and we're over here with
I think
Kevin
it's more
eating
like
all the cookies.
SpongeBob, where Squidward's looking outside with SpongeBob and Patrick running around having fun.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of these you can make for sure, but Marvel's handling all these things, and they're releasing action figures and info and stuff. So I'm not saying release it all, but change it. It feels very archaic, and it's almost like hard to even think that that's an appropriate word, because George Lucas had a live running.
I was gonna say he had like
during the
webcams
prequels.
going.
Yeah, so I don't even know what it is. Maybe it's not archaic. Maybe it's this new thing where it's like we're just not gonna say anything. Like, we're gonna release the Obi-Wan trailer a week after the show comes out.
I just had this thought that we got to see like a Doctor Strange trailer during the Super Bowl, and everybody, Star Wars fans, were super hyped because we thought we might get a look at Kenobi.
we got goats.
Aquafina, not even saying anything Star Wars. Like it almost would have felt like a win if she would have just said, and we got Kenobi coming. Like that would have felt like a win, because it's like, oh, they've begun marketing Kenobi. That's our first like physical ad for Kenobi kind of thing, or not really, but you know what I mean. Like they had this opportunity to even say the name of a Star Wars property on the Super Bowl, and they still didn't do it. So I mean, granted, that's Disney and not Lucasfilm, so Disney was trying to play all fields. I get it, but it felt like they could have been like, we've got Loki, like, and we've got this and this and this, and
let me ask you guys this.
Maybe they did that, and I just
find
missed it completely, because I'm like, they didn't even say anything Star Wars.
I find it crazy, though, that we're getting more press daily and weekly, and I would say monthly, about the Star Cruiser than we are about Book of Boba Fett or Obi-Wan or anything else, which drives me bananas, because I'm like, so your major properties that then tie into the parks, you're now pushing the parks more.
Well, that
if you
and
went out
High
to
Republic.
A mall,
yeah,
I think we're getting a lot of High Republic news right now too. It feels like every day it turns around and it's a new announcement. Like, tune into this show we're having a call with all of the writers of High Republic.
and
kind of
they
thing.
just had a summit about what's coming next. And I'm like, okay, but what about everything else?
Yeah, you should absolutely be doing that. But you should be doing that for all of your mediums. You should be doing it for your games,
you're
your
a
TV,
major movie studio.
Yeah.
So think about this. If you went to a mall right now, I think those still exist, and you went up to someone and do those things like, hey, you a Star Wars fan? I'd be like, yeah, I like Star Wars. Did you know that there's an Obi-Wan Kenobi series with Ewan McGregor coming out on Disney Plus in a couple months? I bet you more than half people would be like, I had no idea.
Yeah, I bet that's true, probably true.
Which is
I don't know about that, because
me.
it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. I would argue that the Book of Boba Fett, they had no idea.
You'd be surprised. I'm telling you, they're not advertising this at all. It comes. I remember when Solo, it was like January. People were like, how have we not gotten a trailer for Solo yet? It comes out in 4 months, and then we got the Super Bowl, like sort of teaser trailer. And people were like, well, all right, and they didn't do much of that after that. The Denny's thing, and that's it. And it didn't do well. Like, and they put it up against Avengers and Deadpool. It's like with Obi-Wan, we're even closer to that now. It's March. It comes out in 2 months.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I feel like they're making the mistake of assuming people are just going to go.
It's that reliance on people are going to watch it anyway. But part of the enjoyment of this is, and like what Steele said, I got to give Steele Wars credit. He said it's part of that journey for fans. We all know we're all going to watch it, but if you really want to make that community, it is the action figures. It is the fast foods tie-ins. It is all that stuff that you remember as a kid being like, this is the hype train. And Kenobi's going to come and go.
The poster, then the update, then the interview, then the,
Right. And Kenobi's going to come and go so quick that we're not even right now able to enjoy the journey because they're not giving us anything to enjoy.
Look, the
It's
interesting
just going
thing
to come
I think
and go, and that's it.
the interesting thing I think that the Lucasfilm, in my opinion, as a fan who's been paying attention for a while, so it's whatever, but I think they're missing something very important, is that they have these TV shows, and for some reason they're treating them less than movies. And with Star Wars, maybe not even with Marvel, you can't treat Loki like the new Marvel movie that's coming out. It's just the new series that's coming out. But they can do this with Star Wars. They could absolutely give it the marketing and production of advertisements that a movie should be getting, but they're like, Obi-Wan, like they do like a car commercial and it has like lightsabers in it, and it's like two kids playing like Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, and they're going back and forth. Dude. And it's like, get the all new Chevy Nissan thing, whatever, 2023 edition.
Using the Force to get the Pepsi can out of the machine or something.
It literally doesn't matter, whatever car they want to put it on. And then at the end, they do the little thing, and they said, and also check out Kenobi coming to theaters this time. They do that. They could just say only on Disney Plus. And it's like, people are going to treat it like a movie, and they're going to get excited, and they're going to buy a Disney subscription that month and only that month to watch it. I can't wrap my head around sometimes where they're like, they're treating it like, well, it's just a show.
Yeah.
That's how it feels. Like it's just a TV show. I mean, it's not one of our movies. Our movies, we put a lot of effort into.
There are fans who say like, they don't owe you anything or whatever. And
that
I think
stuff really offends me when people say that.
That's garbage, because
then they have no audience. If they owe you nothing, you have no audience.
Yeah, that's like going to a restaurant and like the wait, you're sitting at your table and the waiter keeps walking by you for 20 minutes. And you're with someone who's at a table next nearby, and they're like, they don't owe you anything. It's like, well, I'm a paying customer. What are you talking about? I'm paying for this service. Like, we're not sitting here complaining. We love Star Wars so much. We're rooting for it. We're constantly defending it to people who are like, man, Star Wars, what are they doing? Mm-hmm. This isn't like saying like you guys stink. It's saying like, read the room. That's all.
Help me help you. Help me help you.
Little Jerry Maguire. So
this is my favorite fast food restaurant, and it sucks. Like, why can I go over to that place and get better service and faster service, but for some reason this one is just like struggling, and I love it, but it's struggling, and I want to know why.
Look, there's good things we can get into as well, of course. Celebration is close, where we are very excited about that. So I know we haven't had a chance to spend a lot of time on Celebration. So maybe it's a good time for the State of Star Wars, being that our next State of Star Wars will be after Celebration. To get your guys' thoughts on it. We're pretty locked in terms of like the concrete elements of our plans. We're still trying to tinker with what we want to do when we're there and learn more about what's going to be going on. But I'm sure that's going to be a little bit different. I know, there's talk of like all these, mandates going away with the masks and stuff like that. But I'm curious to see what this celebration is going to be like, because it's going to be my second celebration. I only have it 2019 to compare it to. So Lacey, I mean, this is an open discussion. You can bop in at any time, but I'm saying like your thoughts on how this celebration might be different than 2019. Not necessarily just from the pandemic, but like pandemic Star Wars. It's been a few years now, and what may be different with Reed Pop, and what do you think?
I would compare this even more to 2015, which was at the same location. So that's right before The Force Awakens. It was, gearing up for that. It was the panel with JJ and everyone, and everybody's back, and they showed the trailer for the first time. It's the same location. I think the location is great. I love this convention center. I love how the hotels are right there, and the whole plaza in the middle with the food trucks and everything. It's just the perfect.
That sounds absurdly convenient. Yeah.
It is the perfect convention space. It really is for what this is. And then you're literally a 10-minute walk away from Disneyland. It's like the most magical place.
You could see them maybe keeping it there?
I could, because they're doing the D23 thing, they might keep it over there, but if they want people to go to Disney World, they might drive it back to Florida a couple times. I know people were talking about, would it come to Europe again? Would it come to Tokyo? And I know that years and years ago, they were talking about having it in Tokyo.
Oh, wow.
But I think they're going to keep it where Disney can make money, and Disney can make money at Disneyland and in Florida. So for now, I would assume that
East
that's
Coast,
what's going to
West Coast
happen.
thing.
Yeah, it's going to switch off. That being said, though, yeah, the location is great. I think we're in a different space fan-wise compared to 2015 to now. 2015, you had your diehard fans that have been fans since before the prequels and the prequels coming together for the new sequel trilogy. Now you have all the fans that have come from the sequel trilogy. You've had a massive group of fans that have started just from The Force Awakens to now.
That's a great point. Yeah.
So it's going to be different in that way. You're going to have kind of this melding of all these different generations of fans, which I think is pretty cool. I think, like we've been talking about right before this, I think the focus will definitely be on television. There's going to be panels or announcements, I'm sure, for movies or updates or stuff like that, but the focus will be on television and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Andor and Mandalorian, because that is where not only the fans are right now. I think a lot of fans, especially not diehard fans, but more casual Star Wars fans, are Mandalorian fans. So they're going to focus on that more than anything else. And that's what they're pushing right now. Because you have to think at the end of the day, yes, this show is a celebration for fans and it's a wonderful community event that everybody gets together and it's like a wonderful hug to Star Wars. But at the same time, they need to make money and they need to promote things to make more money. So they're going to promote the things that are going on right now.
So that's an interesting thought, John. Like me and you being our first celebration, that celebration that we went to was the fans coming off of The Last Jedi.
Right.
And the look forward to was The Rise of Skywalker. And there was kind of turmoil at that time, but yet celebration was still awesome.
No Mando yet.
Yeah, this time the vibe in going into celebration is coming off of Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett and that whole like universe right there. Looking forward to Kenobi and/or Mandalorian.
Well, Kenobi will have
premiered.
Like
yeah,
it will have premiered, but the thing is but the show will not be done. We'll be looking forward to Kenobi.
Do you think
going into celebration?
Any chance they'll show some of the second episode to fans at Celebration?
Not me, no.
I
think
could see
it's
them
possible.
showing stuff. I totally
I
could.
don't know.
I could see them. I mean, you have to think Disney's been showing press first and second episodes of stuff. I know Star Wars is a little different, but like Hawkeye, they showed. I think they pressed the first 3 episodes.
Or even just as a goodwill toward the fans.
They might show the first 15
Celebration.
minutes of the second episode, or they might show a behind the scenes reel or something. But they're gonna show never before seen stuff.
I don't know, guys. Like this is a problem. Like, and I just don't think
it
they
happened with
even want to mess
Mandalorian.
with it.
I mean,
and I don't. Yeah, I mean that
Didn't
is
stop
true.
that Star
They showed us
Cruiser
that.
invite though.
But I feel like that was a little bit of advertisement, and if they're showing the next episode, like they won't need that advertisement because they're going to be leaning. All of the promotions are going to be like, "Did you see the first episode?" And they'll be able to plaster that everywhere.
Right.
So,
right. I see what you're saying.
I don't know. Maybe your point is correct. Maybe the fact that the first episode drops and they have all this real footage and everybody's excited about it, nobody's going to care about that second episode leak. Which kind of goes back to our no, it would be a leak if people were filming it and stuff.
Yeah.
So it might get lost in the mix because I don't know, it's out there, but like most people are going to be like, whatever, it's here. I'm not going to watch it on a phone. I'll watch it when I see it on TV.
The other thing too,
maybe you're right.
To keep in mind with Star Wars Celebration, they haven't done it yet, but they definitely did it with D23 because I was in a D23 panel in 2017. They will give you zip bags and they'll zip up your phone. So when you walk in, they'll give you zip bags where they put your phone in, they zip it up, the security guy tests the bag, and they give you the bag back. And then they
like the premiere.
Right, but it's not the same. That was more even crazy at the premiere. They had like lock bags. This one was like it's like a plastic bag that zips shut. It's like a mail bag type thing.
I can tell you one thing that would really get me pumped on Celebration is I get that when you go there, it's the experience of be there. Like I got to see it live or I got to see it in this giant crowd, right? But let me tell you, if I got to see something that the general public didn't get to see, that would make me very happy. And like if they took my phone and if they had to take my phone to get that.
Oh,
like,
are you kidding?
I would absolutely do it.
So you're walking into an Obi-Wan Kenobi panel and they're like, why is this the line? Why is it taking so long? They're like, they're making everybody put their phones away. everyone's gonna be like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my thing is like, you best
take my
know
phone,
that
throw in the garbage. I don't care.
what we
Yeah.
saw is going to be described, but if the description is out there, but I've seen it, that will.
man.
Well,
You know, like,
that's what happened with The Mandalorian. Is they played the first 15 minutes of The Mandalorian before The Mandalorian came out.
It was
to
like
us.
7
But-
minutes. It wasn't that
7
much,
minutes,
but yeah.
whatever.
true,
Yeah.
but my point is that stuff leaked because they didn't take phones. I want something walking out of it, and for like the next 6 months, I've already seen it. You know,
Oh yeah.
that's
that
what
is
I'm talking
cool.
about.
That's definitely cool because when I went to G23, they did that. They showed a lot of stuff that they hadn't put out yet, like Wreck-It Ralph and a couple other things that you were like, holy crap, I can't
Yeah.
believe I just saw that scene, like the princesses talking to each other. And it was one of those things that you're like, I've seen it not finished. I saw sketches and voice
Yeah.
work, and no one
So-
else has seen that type of stuff.
So I'm actually a Disney investor. So I saw this short little like Disney Kenobi clip like about a year ago.
Other than that, I think that this celebration is going to be a little different than usual. I think it's going to be a smaller crowd than what you'd expect, just because of what we're coming off of, which is very interesting because a lot of fans still don't have tickets. I think that that's because they're determining how many people they can have. They'll have as many as they can have legally.
Is this bigger or smaller than Chicago in terms of like capacity and what they were selling and projecting?
Chicago has, I think, one of, if not the biggest convention center. McCormick Center is the biggest convention center in the country.
But in terms of like you know, the grasp on the amount of hotels they made available for the event, like the pulse on that.
Yeah, I think that the biggest one they've ever had was probably 2017 in Orlando. That one was
yeah, that
so
looks
big that they
huge.
had lines around the corner. People had trouble getting in. It was just way too big.
Yeah.
And then they pared down the audience for Chicago.
And
And I think that they're going to make the audience even smaller for this one because of COVID and the mandates and legally what they're allowed to have.
do you think we're gonna get a movie panel and like Taika will be there and Patty Jenkins and that sort of thing?
I think so. I think every celebration they've had movie panels and then recently television panels because we have to remember that's a recent thing. It's crazy as it is.
Like let's
And
say
they usually have books, comics. But yeah, the big panels are usually movie panels like past and present, like anniversaries, which it's an anniversary this year.
yeah,
And
Attack of the Clones.
Yep. And like what's to come. So 2015, it was The Force Awakens. They had some like future panels with Josh Trank and like Rogue One.
Well, I mean,
Then in 2016 in Europe and London, they had the Rogue One was the big panel. And then they had like a future panel which had John Boyega in it and Alden in it, where they announced that he was solo
bring him back.
with Lord and Miller. It was a great panel. And then 2017, they had The Last Jedi. And I don't think they made any future announcements except where Celebration would be the next time. Like, they didn't make any really big what's coming
So,
panels. But then
Being that no movies
2019 was
coming
different.
out, no movies like scheduled. It's coming out this year or whatever.
Yeah.
Like imagine Taika goes out there and he just like here's the title. I got the title of my Star Wars movie. Here's the title. And it's
100%.
gonna-
I think that we're going to get that. If not there, at D23.
All right, so that's what I'm talking about. Like, start giving us some stuff on these new movies because really, it's we keep talking about the Disney Plus. There's a lot of movies that they have in development that we don't know anything about. So
I think
it'll be
Taika will
interesting.
get more information about because it's been kind of a positive experience in that it hasn't had any rumors of delays or anything like that or
or the
issues.
Feige movie. Imagine Feige shows up at
Feige.
Celebration.
Yeah, they could have Michael Waldron, right? Him show
Yeah.
up
Yep.
to talk about
Writing it.
writing it. Yeah, absolutely. I think they're going to
Yeah.
have a block panel where it's all that stuff in one panel where everybody gets like 10 minutes. I
Yeah.
don't think it's going to be like everything's dedicated to one movie at a time.
I'm back on the whole thing of I'm not expecting any big surprise announcements, though. I obviously would absolutely love it if they hit us.
They have
with-
11 series in development, so you never know.
and more and
yeah.
and potentially more. Yeah.
What it's 5 days this year, or was it 4 days last year or last time, right?
It is 4 days this year: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Last
Okay,
time
so
it
it's
was
4.
5 days. It was Thursday, Friday,
Oh,
Saturday,
okay.
Sunday, Monday.
Interesting, because the way I thought of it was there was 4 major panels last time, and this particular year I'm sitting here and I'm writing it down and I'm like, well, they did anniversary of Phantom Menace, so they'll probably do an anniversary of Attack of the Clones. That would be one panel. And then I'm like, I don't know, probably the block movie thing, like you said, maybe
They
one
have
dedicated
Tamara
to
Morris
Andor.
in there, so they're doubling up on his travel.
And then
Yeah.
one for Andor and one for Kenobi, and that would be 4. So that would be their 4 things. Because the movies are a little further out, so they could probably block it into one panel and bring out special guests. But then making your 2 main panels be one for Kenobi, one for Andor. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. And then, more
I
importantly,
think that will be the
anything
case.
is-
They'll have one for Kenobi, one for Andor, one for The Mandalorian, and then one for the future of Star Wars.
Yeah. And I think it's just, I'm really excited about just going and...
Or Kenobi and Andor will be in the same panel. They might put them back to back, where they have Andor go first
They
and then
could.
Kenobi go second. They've done those with Marvel.
We
where
don't
they do.
know. Do you know why we don't know? Because they don't tell us anything.
Right. But
I'm just talking
ultimately,
from
What's out, we have
experience
no
of,
clue
like-
what's even going to happen.
Yeah, what
going
Disney or
and,
Marvel's done.
and seeing people we know and meeting new people and doing all that stuff and people who listen to us and
We're going to
just seeing,
Galaxy's
like,
Edge for the first time.
I still can't believe that. I almost forgot that's happening. I'm not gonna believe it till I walk in.
I know.
I'm gonna show up that day. They're gonna be like, we're closed for maintenance.
See you later.
You're that guy that said that thing about that. No. But no, we don't have much time. We only have a couple minutes. But is there anything else you guys wanted to check in on briefly? Maybe do like a bullet list of things that are on your mind about the state of Star Wars until we hit our next one, probably like June, July.
We talked about on Monday, super pumped for Lego Star Wars and
Yeah.
where the future.
I am. Yeah, I
Star
will
Wars
get back in games
Eclipse.
for that.
It's got its issues, but the game does look crazy, and I'm interested to see what else is going to come from that.
Yeah.
All the other
Jedi
games that
Fallen
they
Order
announced.
2.
We're going to be learning too about Fallen Order, the second Jedi
Oh, they'll probably bring
series games.
what's his name out, Cameron Monaghan out for that
Yeah,
when they do a video game panel. Yeah,
That would actually be pretty interesting if they did a big Fallen Order panel. Like it wouldn't
They're
be
gonna do
Fallen Order, but it would be Jedi, whatever. Maybe we'll get the name title, and they'll do a panel with him and show us new characters, new
That'd be cool.
gameplay
Yeah.
footage and stuff. That could actually be a panel. I could see that being big enough for a whole thing.
Oh, absolutely, that will be a panel.
they're
yeah.
definitely gonna do a Star Cruiser panel, and if you go to that, you'll get a voucher for an extra bowl of cornflakes when you go to the Star Cruiser.
I considered that there would be a Star Cruiser panel.
Oh,
yes.
100%.
I think there will be
Yeah.
a Galaxy's Edge
I
panel
don't
of
know.
some sort.
Josh Gad will be walking those hallways in his pajamas, being like, "What is this?" Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's going to happen.
And I think there's going to be an animation panel, so Bad Batch
Oh,
or
yeah,
what's
yeah.
to come.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a great point. The future of Star Wars animation, canon animation, Visions was awesome.
I think they'll have a Visions panel.
They may announce the new animation person now that Filoni's fully entrenched in his role as creative executive and live action. Like they may say that this is our new animation director or something like that, or creative animation head. But what's
Yeah,
the
it's-
next big animated show? Bad Batch is here, but that's not going to go on
it's-
forever. What's the next big one?
It's hard to say like what these big panels are going to be, because I feel like all of these could be panels, but what are they really going to pull the trigger on? Like this is the thing we want to focus on.
Old Republic
You know?
animated show, just crazy Sith versus Jedi insanity.
The only other thing, because I wrote everything down: movies, TV show, animation, books, comics, TV, toys, all video games. I'm trying to go through all of it, and the only thing that we probably haven't touched on really is like books and comics. We're getting so much news from the High Republic stuff, and I imagine
So
they're
much
probably
news.
going to cover it as well. But the only thing that gets me excited is maybe that we could hear more about Acolyte as well, and maybe get a little bit of a clearer picture between
Totally
like,
forgot Acolyte.
Yeah.
I forgot about.
like maybe get a little bit of a clearer picture on when they're talking about that show. Maybe she comes out and she says, "Are you guys fans of the High Republic?" And have everybody go, "Whoa!" Like out in the audience, everybody's excited because they're all Star Wars fans, and then go, this is really going to be your first like High Republic live action show.
I hate to be that person. They'd probably put that in the future of Star Wars block panel. They wouldn't put that with the book panels.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying when they do the future of television, Leslie Headland's coming out. She's talking about The Acolyte, and she kind of introduces the show as like, we all know you guys are fans of the High Republic. Any High Republic fans in here? And everybody goes, yay, right? And then they go, because this show is taking place then, Leslie, tell us a little bit about how this connects with all those books and stories that you guys have all been reading. And she can kind of
show
explain
us like concept art of a character or something.
Exactly, like explaining kind of that connection to how the show got into development and how it's connecting to all these other stories that we've been reading for 2 or 3 years.
First look at Darth Plagueis right there.
Yeah, kind of a thing. Like I could see, I see the High Republic being somehow involved a little bit bigger than just like a publishing panel. I want to see Lucasfilm at Celebration show us what the point is, like in some ways, kind of like, look, we're working really hard over here and it all matters. So connect it to live action or connect it to animation, connect it to a video game, something like, let it develop there, but it has developed. Believe me, you're putting stuff out hand over fist. It's too much that I'm not even caught up. Like I was like, this is so much publishing. Like, it's like, stop writing books and put more focus on some other stuff.
That's a good place to sort of end it, because we started by saying, open it up a bit. Show us what you got. We're rooting for you. Help us help you, like you said, Lacey.
Help me help you.
Yeah, like you said, Tom Cruise.
Right. But also, thinking like there's a different vibe between the Bob Iger Disney over Star Wars and the Bob Chapek, and you're seeing way more influence in the park stuff intertwining and that sort of thing. But Bob Iger, there was more of a charm to how he liked presenting things, I feel like, than Bob Chapek. But we'll see how that turns out. This is, like you said, James, this is Lucasfilm's chance and celebration to prove us wrong and be like, oh yeah, we are peeling back the curtain a bit. This is what's going on, and us to be like, thank you, like, all right, here we go. And then, but don't just do it at Celebration. Keep that going.
I actually didn't consider you might be exactly right. Like maybe the push for the Galactic Star Cruiser and the park aspect and the advertising angle there is more Bob Chapek than we like to admit.
He's a parks guy.
Oh, it's totally Chapek. Yeah.
So we'll see, but we hope everyone enjoyed that State of Star Wars Winter 2022 edition. We covered a lot in a short period of time. Critiques, things we like, things we're hoping for. So a nice mixture of stuff there, and we'll check in when we do the next one in a few months' time. But that is the show. So we want to thank everybody for listening and watching and being a part of TRB. Quick thank you to all of our Patreon generals and Spice Runners. I want to thank Carmelo, Jeremy Myers, John Reese, Jetta Rosewater, Paul Olson, Oliver Lewis, Frank Grande, Darth Hurricane, John Charlton, Nick Kratz, Christian Morales, Brian Smith, Matt Chitty, Nathan Shank, Danny, Mike Ramore, Matt Heath, Double C Chris White, and Val Trichkoff. Thank you, generals. And our Spice Runners, David Probus, Neil Shaw, Kendall Gellner, Ryan Wara, Dave Hornack, Micah Harrison, Thomas Hennessy, and Andrew Staley joining the Spice Runners. Thank you all for all of your support. Make sure you do subscribe to the show on your preferred audio platform, whether that's Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever we are there. If it has a rating system, give us 5 stars and share it with a friend. We've been growing, and it's a lot of thanks to you. Also, youtube.com/Star Wars Newsnet videos. We just passed 7,500 subs, so thank you all very much. Let's march to 8,000. So tell a friend to watch the channel as well. StarWarsNewsNet.com for all of your Star Wars news, reviews, editorials, information, and more. Johnny Hoey on Twitter, writing and editing over at Star Wars Newsnet, and my movie podcast, Just Like the Movies. We got Batman Begins coming up next, available on all your audio platforms. Lacey.
People can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Lacey Gilleran.
James.
Twitter and Instagram as well, but at Myra Trunks.
Indeed. And we will see everybody with another episode on Monday, where we get back into tackling the news, as always, right here on the Resistance broadcast. We'll see you around, kids.